the way we want to play. We've made a lot of changes. We had 4 guys making their debut for the club today. So that all those kind of things. But like I said, today was a starting point. Whatever we did today, we'll improve. We'll have to improve. And as a first game, I thought it was okay.
And in terms of, it's been a big week for you with Harry Kane leaving. Do you think the players are going to have to learn to adjust to play without him?
They've already learnt and adjusted. Like I said again, I thought today, for the most part, our ability to react to adversity was really strong, which means there's a really good mentality within the group, and we're going to need that moving forward. And I thought there were some good signs here.
Joining us now to talk through the game is Chris Cowlin, host of the Spurs Chat podcast. How are you, Chris?
Hi, Aaron. Lovely to talk to you again.
Yeah, likewise. It's been a while. Talk to us about the feeling around the GTEC Community Stadium after yesterday's 2-2 draw.
Well, the feeling going into the game was very positive, and we come away feeling very positive. I tell you what, I think for every single neutral fan who whatever team you support, I think Tottenham are going to be the team to watch this season, because we are going to concede a lot of goals. We're going to score a lot of goals. They are going to be very, very entertaining matches. And but the feeling inside is the backing of the new head coach, Ange Postecoglou. The Spurs fans didn't stop singing his name. It is a different era. It is a new era at the football club. Of course, Harry Kane has left. Lots of changes are going on at the football club at the moment. The £100 million, of course, sale from Harry Kane. I think that, I hope that, we do invest this money in a new striker and new players. But when you think about the spine of the team, it has completely changed. Captain Hugo Lloris is no longer a part of the squad. Eric Dyer wasn't included. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg was on the bench. Spurs are looking to sell him on. Harry Kane, of course, has been sold to Bayern Munich. So, 4 debuts, as Ange Postecoglou said in the press conference. But Basuma was a standout player on Sunday against Brentford, and James Maddison has fitted in remarkably well. Udogie and new signing Van der Ven had great games as well. So there is a lot of positives to take from Sunday. Of course, Ange Postecoglou has got a lot of work to do with this Tottenham Hotspur team and squad, but a very, very good start. Of course, we face Manchester United on Saturday in the Premier League. That is going to be a very, very difficult game. But as I said, these games, during pre-season have been very, very entertaining. I think Tottenham Hotspur will score a hatful, but I think we'll concede a lot of goals. But it is about moving forward as a football club, certainly after Harry Kane has left.
Yeah, it's an interesting job Ange Postecoglou has on his hands, because he's got to sort of get the best out of the longest serving, the quality players that Spurs have knocking around. The one I'm looking at is your new captain, Song. He's got to get him firing again. But there's also players on the periphery, on the fringe, where he's got to assess them and see if they're going to be part of his side going forward. Gio Lo Celso faced a lot of criticism after his loan spell last season at Villarreal. A lot of people talking about how he's clumsy and he's just a bit of a donut in general, really, as a footballer. There are other players on the periphery, Ryan Sessegnon, Jed Spence. There was one more I was thinking about. Tanguy Ndombele talks about him impressing initially and then sort of, tailing off completely with his attitude. This is a big job for Ange Postecoglou. This is not a case of walk in, sign a couple of players and crack on with the football. He is coach, HR, mentor, friend, disciplinarian in one.
Aaron, it's a massive job. We've gone from Pochettino to Jose Mourinho to Antonio Conte. Of course, Ryan Mason has been in interim charge during that period as well. And of course, Nuno Espirito Santo had a short period of time at Tottenham. It is a massive job, but I do think the sale of Harry Kane buys him patience and buys him time. Most of those players that you mentioned there, I would consider players that Tottenham Hotspur are, going to offload this summer. But it is very difficult sometimes to offload players. But this is a huge rebuild. As I mentioned, the spine of the team has changed. He has given a lot of opportunities to players. It's fair to say that Giovanni Lo Celso during pre-season was probably one of our standout players. If I'm completely honest, I didn't think that he would get a chance in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt again. There are some players that you thought that would never see in a Tottenham shirt again. Sergio Reguilon's one of those as well, but he will probably be offloaded. But it is now, for me, about the £100 million that we have received from the Harry Kane sale. It is imperative that Tottenham Hotspur go out and spend that money And I hope, and as a lot of Spurs fans do, that we haven't spent the Harry Kane money already to balance the books. To the likes of James Maddison, Vicario, and Van der Ven coming in. Spurs do need to go out and buy a new striker, with experience, in my opinion. I know there's talk about Gift Orban, the 21-year-old Nigerian who plays for Ghent, coming in. I think it would be putting a lot of pressure on a 21-year-old to only have him as a striker. Richarlison needs to step up. Kulusevski needs to step up. Son needs to step up. Of course, he's been made captain now. But the £100 million must be spent the right way. Recruitment has been an issue at Spurs for the last few seasons, in my opinion. Tongi Ndombele, Giovanni Lo Celso, £100 million on them. We haven't got anywhere near what we should have got out of them two players. But Basuma seemed like a new player. He had a very difficult time last year with injuries and so on under Antonio Conte. But Ange Postecoglou has instilled belief, and he uses that word a lot and has done it in press conferences since he's arrived, since the 1st of July. But he has got a number of Spurs fans believing again.
I'll tell you what, before Sahel jumps in, I just want to bring some breaking news, and it's something that we expected to happen, and that is that Chelsea have confirmed the signing of Moises Caicedo for a fee of £100 million plus £15 million in add-ons. The statement says that the 21-year-old midfielder has agreed an 8-year deal at Stamford Bridge with a club option of a further year and joins from Brighton and Hove Albion. Caicedo says, "I'm so happy to join Chelsea. I'm so excited to be here at this big club and didn't have to think twice when Chelsea called me. I just knew I wanted to sign for the club." Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley, co-sporting directors at Stamford Bridge, say that Moises has proved himself as a stand-up player in European football over the past 18 months. We're thrilled to add him to Maurizio Pochettino's squad. So, breaking news coming out of Stamford Bridge tonight. It is pretty much what we expected. Moises Caicedo has completed his £115 million. That's a new British transfer record. £150 million move to Chelsea from Brighton and Hove Albion. Sahel, jump in.
Yeah, that's big for Chelsea, and I feel like Jurgen Klopp, if anyone ever asks him a question again about a player that Liverpool are about to sign, I don't think he'll ever answer it ever again. But anyway, Chris, you listening to you sound like Tottenham are going to just cruise into the Champions League and have a fantastic season. You might be right. I just want to ask you about Richarlison. He's Brazilian centre forward, number 9. What do you expect from him? Because let's be fair, he had a really quiet season, didn't he, last year? I know it was hampered as well with his injuries, World Cup. Everyone was trying to get fit. What you expecting from him? Not just your goal return, but what you expecting, with goals and playing. He's basically taken Harry Kane's position.
Well, he's got a fantastic opportunity now to play every single game, to play every minute in the Premier League and cup competitions. He needs to step up. He needs to do a whole lot more. He did very little in that Brentford game, which was very, very disappointing. So we need to get a lot more out of him. But as I said earlier, I do think that Spurs do need to go out and spend money on a recognised striker, rather than rely on someone like Richarlison, because Harry Kane's shoes are very, very big to fill.
Don't you think, Chris? Sorry, don't you think they could use that money somewhere else and leave Richarlison up front? He is the Brazilian number 9.
I don't think that Richarlison is going to give you a goal return anywhere near what Harry Kane did. 30 goals in 38 games last season in a struggling side that finished 8th. And if I can go back to the point of, you saying that you think that I think that Spurs are going to cruise into the Champions League, far from it. I think that we're a million miles away from Champions League spots at the moment. I think that there are lots of positives to take under Ange Postecoglou, but I do think that Spurs need to do a lot more in this transfer window to get any form of European football, because we've seen every single Premier League team around us, and certainly the ones that finished above us, they have really strengthened their squads.
I'll tell you what's really interesting, and we've got to make it really, really quick because we're going to be late for the news, Chris, is that the vibes and the messages we're getting out of Tottenham is that they're not looking for another number 9. They feel confident in what they've got. They've signed.
They have to.
But if they don't, will you be disappointed? Will there be outrage, uproar from the fans? Where are we?
Like I said, it's going to be very, very difficult to replace Harry Kane, but you do need a recognised striker to come in at the club and even give someone like Richarlison competition. You absolutely need that. Of course, Ange Postecoglou has said that the goals will be shared and should be shared around the team. But when you're taking away our record goal scorer, our best player that's ever played at the football club, how are you going to replace 30 goals a season? It's going to be very, very difficult. You do need to give Ange Postecoglou all of the tools if he wants to have any chance of finishing in a European spot, because Spurs having no European football this season is absolutely dreadful, in my opinion. And we need to get back into Europe where we belong.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting season for Tottenham. Chris, thanks for joining us, mate. Got to head off and grab the news. That's Chris Cowlin. Make sure you catch up with him on the Spurs Chat podcast. 6:34. We'll be back and we'll be talking that big move for Moises Caicedo after the London's news. We will.